So I had never really heard about lucid dreaming until you said I'd talk about lucid dreaming. So it'd be really cool if you talked about lucid dreaming.
Okay. Yeah, I have conversations about this all the time. The term lucid dreaming is such like a big encapsulating term that it really hasn't been defined. And I think that's really up to us, the conscious dreamers, to do that. Because like for myself, personally, I had synonymized lucid dreaming with full control of your dream all the time. And that's just not necessarily true because of the function of dreams in our lives anyways. Because part of it is receiving and relaying universal information. So some of that we're just not conscious of. So, and we can't change it. It's not our rules to change, so we can't do it. So it's kind of a fallacy to look for complete control all the time. You know, but what I found is like essentially a lucid dream is having consciousness of or in the dream. So it's like if you're conscious of this, because a lot of times people will come to me and say I had this dream where it was real. It was as real as any experience I've ever had, but I didn't realize I was dreaming until I woke up. And I asked him, well, would you have done anything different if you were awake? Like other than make a rabbit jump across the scene and then you fly off with them somewhere. If you could, other than that, would you have done anything else? And I'm probably like, no. Well, then you were conscious for that dream. You just didn't have to make any choices. So it's like that's part of the subconscious working for you right there. You know? And so I mean, for me, it was confusing for me because I didn't realize, for me personally, that being consciously aware of your dreams while you're dreaming was like that different from what everyone else did. I really didn't know that until like somewhat recently in my past year, because like I wanted to see what people are talking about, because I heard people questioning for this lucid dream thing, and here I am being conscious in my dreams but not having full control all the time, and I'm like, well, is that what they're talking about? I mean, because it doesn't seem like it really happens. So when I saw a loose definition, basically someone put like on Wikipedia or something like that, of being consciously aware in your dream, I'm like, so that doesn't mean anything. It's like I do it all the time. And so I remember I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking about the symbols. I'm thinking about all these things, and I'm like, okay, well, if I know I do this in a sense. So if I'm right, if I know I'm doing this, that means I should be able to build my dream. I should be able to wake up in the dream and do whatever I want. So I'm like, okay, let's think about this then, because then it's like if I've missed this, let's make this strong association. So I'm like, what's something that's kind of mysterious in dream world? I'm gonna pick a mysterious forest to explore symbolically, just because I'm gonna acknowledge the unknown aspect of what I'm doing, and honor that. And I'm gonna kind of cautiously walk into this thing and just kind of look into it. So this is the interesting thing. So I'm like, okay, this is right before I'm gonna go to sleep, and I go ahead and close my eyes and go to sleep, and I'm pulling through the void, and I'm walking, and I'm seeing the forest, and I'm like, yeah, this is like what I expected, right? And okay, get up. So I'm walking in this forest, okay, walking in the forest, okay. And I had this like horrible attitude at the time, because I'm thinking like I know everything, I'm so cool. And what is it? So I'm like, what are these people talking about? This doesn't make any sense. I'm like even kind of frustrated, like kicking the rocks, like this is fucking stupid, right? And I'm like, what's so big about this? And then like, because I'm used to this, I'm used to being conscious of my dream, I'm used to picking up on things. So I pick up on something behind me, and it's to the left. So I'm like, oh, something's coming behind me. So I turn and look. As I turn and look, I see two eyes. Two eyes just kind of staring at me, and as I'm about to turn around, this thing kind of comes at me with every sort of known misdirection possible. Flipping, flying, crawling, running, jumping, and I'm like, oh shit! And there's this white light that I use over there, and then get into that too. And that's like this amazing defense. And so I realize I'm going to be open right here, because that's where this thing is going to teleport. And so I put up my shield, I'm like, whoo! And I'm thinking like, I know I can't die in dreams. I've died every different ways in dreams, but there's never a time I thought I was physically going to die.
goes, "That's time." And I'm like, "Whoo!" And I'm like, "Okay, hey, no." And I look, I'm like, "Okay, not attacking." All right, and I was kind of like, "Okay," and it's this figure, this male figure, just looking at me, just going like, "Make your move," kind of thing, right? And I'm just like, "Okay," and then I'm like looking, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, you're me." It was me, but it was me like at, well, I know now, at 65. And I'm like, whoa! And then because I see myself scanning, like, oh, how does this person know me? Because I didn't recognize myself either. And I'm like, and I'm hearing my names being rattled off to me, like, you know, online names, all these other things like that. And I'm like, I realize, like, oh wow, this is me. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm you. And it's like, and I'm like, well, you're older, wiser, say something.
Give me the lottery numbers.
And it's funny because my older self gave my closure. And he goes, kind of looks at me and goes, "You're on the right path." And just kind of goes, and I was like, "Whoo!" Okay. That was me. I made this dream, did what I wanted to. He was going to kick some ass. He could have kicked my ass. And he's going to look to do that. So I think I'm just going to kind of back out of this dream now. And wake up, something else. So after that, I was like really kind of like, okay, there's something more to this. So essentially, like, from that point, I really re-examined everything in my life and what I've experienced in dreaming. And that's where I realized that things like astral projection, out-of-body experiences, you know, that elusive term, lucid dreaming, it's like all of them sort of kind of encapsulate back onto themselves, including things like profound visions and meditations where you kind of leave your body or you have these visions. They're all like synonymous because essentially you're kind of going to the same place. So it was really interesting because then, you know, I started kind of thinking about, well, how did I get here? You know, what happened? And so, like, some of the things that I heard here already about, like, staying your intention, that's one of the things I highly recommend every night. In fact, that's what I do every night now. Because even if, like, what I learned from me, even though I had a natural prowess for doing this, it was like, without the focus, you don't have the practical effect. So it's kind of like, and likewise too, the journaling, just the journaling in general, I can't recommend it enough, because what happens is we have these dreams and we have these experiences, and just as Isabella illustrated to us earlier, we'll have things that we've seen through time, but it's like they're just anecdotes unless you have something tangible. It's like, well, I wrote this down. And it happened. Actually, I didn't bring my journal, but I have some stuff, like, I mean, just from the news and things like that happened. And I realized even things like this, even things like that, though, the interconnectivity, how we're all just, it's all comes together. That's part of synchronizing us to the reality that we experienced in Dream World. We're saying, yes, this is part of the world that we're sharing, and they're synonymous. They go back and forth. And that's why I call these things synchronizations, or even like shared dreams. That is one of my particular points of interest, is the telepathic aspect of dreaming, since that really is another stage of human evolution, because that's really like telepathy. It's our own natural internet that really can't be ever censored or anything, or anyone can make you pay for it.
They want you to.
And it's infinitely more informative. It has infinitely more information.
Much more entertaining.
Oh yeah, absolutely.